Hi, welcome to my channel Infinity Learning. My name is Niranjan and today we are going to learn basics of Apache Camel framework. Now, what is Apache Camel? It's a framework, integration framework. We could say it's a routing engine as well. A routing engine will basically move our message around the path based on the routing configurations. Apache Camel allows us to define our own routing policies. The common terms we encounter in Apache Camel: the routes, the path we define to move a message from one queue to another queue. The endpoints are basically addresses. For example, the queues, the file path. Message is basically a data which goes around our routes. Exchange is an abstraction of exchange of messages, such as the request as well as the response. The very important term we encounter is component. Component is an endpoint instance. For example, the file RabbitMQ, direct, JMS. The Apache Camel has hundreds of these components which can be used in our routes. The data which goes through the routes can be transformed or modified at different point in time. So processor can be used for that purpose. Let's write an Apache Camel example. I'm going to use Spring Boot. From the Spring Boot initializer, I'm going to create a small project, Apache Camel. I'm going to give a name as Apache Camel. So the dependency I'll be using is Apache Camel. Let's import this project to Eclipse. I'm going to export as existing Maven project. Once the import is completed, all the dependencies have been added. This is the dependency, Apache Camel Spring Boot. And the current version is 3.1.0. So let's now write a code. Let's create a camel context. Camel context ctx is equal to new default camel context. Import these from Apache Camel. Now we need to add routes to this context. So we can add routes to the context using add routes method. This add route method takes a route builder instance as an argument. We can create a route builder anonymous class here. Import. It throws an exception. Let's throw it, and we need to implement a method configure. In the configure method, we are going to write all our routes. So I start with a from endpoint. I am going to write direct.start. It's a component. To the bean. I'm not going to use the endpoint, but I'm going to process the message I received from in a bean and display it in our program. Let's write a bean method which will process the data after receiving from the direct start. Public void show data, which basically takes a string. I'm just passing a string. I'll just pass a string, so I'll be taking a string as an argument, and I'm just going to display the received data in this method. I'm not going to do much. Data and display the received data. So let's in the bean method we are going to mention the class name where this method has been declared, and now I'm going to give the bean reference, show data. So now we are all set. Now we need to start Apache Camel context. So using the start method, we can start the Apache Camel context. So once we start the context, so we need to send data to the from endpoint. That can be done using producer template. Apache Camel has this producer template which would allow us to send data to the routes. Producer templates ctx dot create producer template. Let's import this producer template from Apache Camel. So now we have producer template dot send body would basically allow us to send a data. We need to mention an endpoint. In our case, it's direct start, and the body, anything, any data we want, but we are receiving the string, so let's pass a string here. We can pass any data, by the way. So now we have everything set. We just need to execute this program. Let's execute this. There you go, the data. Welcome to Apache Camel. What we have done here is we created an Apache Camel context, we added a route, and we sent data to the endpoint using producer template. Once the data is received in the route, the same data will be transferred to the next point. In our case, it's a bean method. The bean method will process the data and our route ends. We'll see more examples, more components in upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.